Okay.
Um, let's see what happens. It's setting it up. It says,
So heartbreaking.
I think we're live. I think we
Yeah.
did it.
Are we?
We're in a new, I think we're in a new link.
Okay.
I think we're in a new link, but we are live right now.
We are?
Yes, we
Oh,
are. We are. So this is the new link. I'm gonna post this in the other live chat.
okay.
This
Oh my
is
God.
the new link. I can't believe
That
that
was
this is
not what was
happening
meant to
right now.
happen.
The beginning of this video is also hilarious in my opinion. It's like, yo, what's going on?
Wait, so now how
This
do I?
productivity killer
Yeah.
is technology sometimes.
Oh my
Let's
God.
start with that.
Oh my God, crazy. Okay, fine. So we're live then.
We're live. We're live. I sent the link in
Yeah.
the chat
Okay,
of the other live.
fine.
And
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Guys, we've been here since 5:30 trying to get this done. And if you know us, you know that we prepared in advance. We tried it twice.
I'm about
Anyway.
to cry, seriously. Like, how can this happen? Like, this is so exciting for me. And oh,
Oh,
okay.
annoying. It's fine. Let's compose. Compose. But before we start, how do I see the comments? Because I can't see the comments.
I'm gonna send you in the chat of Zoom our live videos
Okay.
link.
Fine.
I think we're there now.
Oh, there
So
we
excited.
go. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Nice. All right, let's get started, guys.
Yes.
So, hello. After 20 minutes of trying to get here, we're here. And welcome to my channel. And I obviously have a lovely, wonderful guest who is not new to this channel. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Gamze. I am a YouTuber, an entrepreneur, obsessed with productivity. Amina's friend from 2018. Next up, I want to say
Yeah,
yes.
18, yeah.
Oh my God, I can't
Yeah.
believe that we're gonna be 3 years in now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's who I am in a very, very, very short gist. But I just have to say this: we're both scientists, so this is how we connected the first moment. Do you remember that,
Yeah,
Amina? It was
I
like
remember. Yeah.
PhD.
Yeah.
What?
I was like, oh my God. And then you're like business. I was like, okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we have so much in common. It's crazy.
yeah. So obviously, as you guys can tell from the title, we are talking productivity today. And I asked you guys on Instagram for some questions, and I've kind of shortened them to sort of 5 main questions. And we're going to kind of just back and forth. And then towards the end, we will open the floor for questions as well. So let us know your thoughts. Okay, so the first one I thought was a really good question is, how do you differentiate between productivity and overworking? So I know this is a really tough one because when you think of productivity, you think getting everything done on time, I guess no boundaries necessarily.
Mm.
How do you know the difference?
That's such a good point that you're making right there. I think many people think that when you're working a lot, you're productive. So I think it has a lot to do with prioritization. What you're doing, like what energy are you putting in, and what outcome are you taking out of your day is what I define productivity in a gist, really. So you can be doing a 2-hour task that has massive impact on your life, on your business, on your school, whatever that you're trying to get done that day, and literally the outcome is 10x or 100x or whatever it is. But sometimes we're also doing like 8-hour tasks back to back, but they're just things that are vanity in a way, or like making everything perfect. I'm guilty of that personally. But what I always think about when I put my weekly plan in place on my Google Calendar for time blocking is to check my task manager, which is an ongoing list of ideas, projects, personal life items, business items, everything. But it has 2 columns. One is importance and one is urgency. So it's automatically sorted by high importance, high urgency. And I choose those ones because I know that they will create the impact that I need them to create. So for me, it's about getting those things done rather than doing 20 different things that are not high on that list. I think that's how we can differentiate easily what is the result of your busyness, kind
Mm.
of.
Yeah, I agree. I think something that people struggle with a lot, and I think I did as well, is that urgency, important, like prioritization. To you, everything is important, right? But actually
Yes.
it really isn't. But is it urgent? And one way that I've spoken about doing this is using that table. Have you seen it before? The important,
I
not important, urgent,
Eisenhower
not urgent.
matrix. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So when you do that table and you actually sit there and you say, right, I need to apply to this thing, I need to do this task, where does it sit? You have to be really honest with yourself and say, right, it's not that important, so let's put that
Yeah.
there. And it's also not that urgent, so let's put it down there in the corner. And it really
Yep.
helps, I guess, prioritize your tasks a little bit. Yeah, I think I agree with what you said. I think I'm similar in the sense that I just use post-it notes these days. I just get a post-it note, just back to basics, basically
Nice.
basics. And I just write a list of things I need to do, and then, but I only write a list of things that I feel like I have to complete today, not everything on my like to-do
Yeah.
list. And that means once I've done those tasks, I know that I'm like done for the day. So I'm not
Yeah.
overworking to the point where I'm trying to get everything done. And I think also, like, obviously I have a 9 month old now, almost 10 month old. And for
Yeah.
me now, I think like I've got to the point where I'm okay with not getting everything done. I think before I used to like blame myself and think you have the whole day to get whatever you want done. But now I'm like, well, actually, don't overwork yourself. Just be productive with the task that you want to do. So I think just having that like minimal, I guess, required
Yeah.
completion of task. It's
Absolutely.
the way that I probably would do that. Yeah.
I love what you just said there. I think, like putting a post-it with 3 things maximum on it that
Yeah.
are impactful is a
Yeah.
good, simple way to plan your day.
Yeah.
For me, I used to do the Eisenhower matrix, but
Yeah.
like, like it's pen and paper for me, and then it changes all the time, and I
Yeah.
can't delegate like everything on that place. So on that like task manager thing that I talked about,
Mm.
the urgency importance, there's also another bar that says active. This
Ah,
helped me a lot. So I have all the active ones up there, and
ah.
sometimes there are like 15, 20 things active. That's not okay. That's too many things to focus on at one point. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep like 5, 6 projects active at a
Mm.
certain time. And some of
Yeah.
them are small projects, some of them are
Yeah.
house projects, like, personal life
Mm.
projects. But that, you have too many things active, you cannot take any more.
Mm.
This happens with goal setting. Do you feel like that beginning of the
Yeah.
year, there's a list of goals and everything is in January, like
Yeah.
let's get
Yeah. Do this, start this routine, start this, like, exercise or whatever.
everything.
Yeah, but I think that's the key thing, just to like stagger and like don't do everything in January. Like when I do, and we're kind of going off tangent, but like when I set my, this is what we're gonna do a lot, by the way, guys. We're gonna go off these tangents. It's a conversation, so it's normal.
Yep.
One of the things that I do is when I set my goals for the year, I set like timings for when I want to do stuff. So, for example, let's say I want to like, I don't know, start a business. I won't say start it in Jan. I'll say I want to start it in May. So at
Yeah.
least that gives me some time to like run up towards that date. And it's still a goal for the year, but I'm not starting everything in January, right? It's like it gives you that
Yes.
buffer time to prepare, do your research, do your marketing, blah blah blah. And like you said, you're not overworking because everything isn't in 1 month or 1 day or 1 hour. And I think that's a key thing. So prioritization is the answer to that question.
Yes, but
Yeah.
the thing is, like when you add everything there and try to do too many things at once, you get nothing done. So
Yeah.
I just pulled out this page from my planner to show you and everybody here.
Mhm.
I am someone who is overly excited about my businesses. Like I'm always like, yes, let's get this website up and this and this. Like it's very hard to control
Your
that. So
baby, right?
what? Yeah. So when I'm setting my goals, I divide them into months like
Mm.
this already. So I
Mm.
know what my goal is for December, and I know that
Mm.
it's planned, so I don't have to worry about it.
Mm.
One goal per month maximum or habit.
Okay.
So this is like what I would do with the productivity or task management, or prevent overworking as well. Like assign it to March 2nd week, assign it to May 19th. I don't know why, but yeah, you can
Yeah.
assign things there, yeah, using a Google Calendar or something like that. Yay, in my opinion, that
Yeah.
prevents overworking a lot.
How can we get hold of that sheet you showed us, the planner? let us know.
Oh, that's the sheet and the planner are from my brand. I created a planner system that is customizable so that you can like add whatever you need and remove whatever you don't. The brand is called getestilo.com is the website. I have a okay, here's the thing. I have a special discount that I will give your audience if they're interested, but you're gonna be a guest on my channel next week.
Yay.
So whoever comes as well, they're going to get another discount code on this anyway. And there are so many videos how to use, like we can talk about it for hours. Let me just shut up.
And just to spell it, it's GETS.
Estilo.
Yes,
yeah. Let me write it in the chat.
Just in case someone's interested. Yeah, ideal. Perfect. Okay, question number 2. Secondly, again, I feel like all the questions you'll come to notice is how to stop doing things, because I think people just want to know how to not do things that stop their productivity, right? So the second question is how to stop procrastinating.
Oh
Again,
my God,
that is a word that I learned like I guess in the last 10 years, where everyone was like, procrastination is is the root of all evil. And, it stops you from doing your best. It stops you from, I guess, getting those things done. So how do you stop procrastinating?
I love the concept of procrastination in general, like understanding where it comes from. By the way, I failed to post in the chat while listening to you, so I will do that in a minute, I promise.
I'll add it to my bio as well in case anyone's interested.
Okay, perfect. So the thing is, for me, since I do this time blocking thing and I'm assigning tasks to my Google Calendar, it is there blocked, and I decided to put it there when I was not on that day. In my opinion, when the majority of the time procrastination happens right before the task because you don't feel like it, right? So I don't plan on the day. That's my first advice. I don't plan in the morning. First of all, it's just too rushed to do a proper planning, and secondly, maybe you don't feel like doing that day. But if I plan the day before, or on a Saturday or a Sunday, I put these in there for like with the sound mind of these need to get done, And what happens is on that day when that bar moves to the item, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it. I will move it. But then I'm like, well, you put it there, like how can you argue with a better minded you the other day who was rested and not stressful and not doing like whole thing every day? This is how I look at it. Like Google Calendar is my boss, but I put it in there anyway. And that helps already, just having a dedicated time and knowing that you assign that for yourself. But also what happens is, since it's a very flexible system, also on the planner I do that sometimes, I just move it to the next day and move something from tomorrow to today. And that, if like that happens for every single one of us, like we plan something for today and we don't do it and we just say I'll do it tomorrow, that is the key like definition of procrastination anyway. I created a rule for myself. If I move a block 3 times, I just stop and question this. Why are you procrastinating? What is the reason? Majority of the time, the reason is the fact that I don't need to do that item. It doesn't resonate with my values and my end goals anymore. So I can't see the connection between that action today and the end result tomorrow. Hence, I can't find the motivation, and that's why. And if that's the case, okay, you reevaluate it. It doesn't serve you now. Just delete the block, like simple as that. But sometimes it is necessary. I absolutely have to do it. And, it is resonating with my core values and stuff. So then I would be looking at things like, can I delegate this to someone somehow? Can I ask for help? If I cannot do that, then I try to gamify that task to stop the procrastination. So for instance, if it's an admin thing, if it's about like, let's say bookkeeping, right? Nobody likes bookkeeping, I think. What I do is I have a special playlist that is always putting me in the right mood for things that I don't want to do, like cleaning and stuff. I put that playlist on and I'm like, this is your power through thing that you have to go through, go with it. Or I do power hour, 1 hour alarm, just get it done, rush, and basically kind of like compete with yourself into finishing this task as soon as possible. That helps. Another way to do it is, finding someone like you, an amazing human being, and get on a Zoom call and just work together, maybe chat in between a little bit, maybe ask for advice, maybe we're doing the same task. So working as a group or co-working kind of. really helps when it comes to like those tasks when I absolutely don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It feels like, you know, somebody's understanding what I'm going through, and I'm like, okay, I can do this now. I feel that
Yeah.
support. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have so many things to talk about when it comes to done.
Make a video about this. I think it's like the most asked question. Like whenever I ask me about productivity, the one question that I can guarantee will be how to stop procrastination,
Yeah,
which makes
yeah,
sense because, you know, procrastination is I guess, the challenge, the barrier to overcome to be productive, right? And I think what you said about planning the day before, or planning before you actually
yeah,
do the task, that's something I don't think I've taken into account before. And I think I'm going to start to use that, because I think what I tend to do is plan on the day for the day,
yeah,
which kind of feels like you're working backwards a little bit sometimes, because the planning takes that time from you, the effort and
yes,
energy from you. So after you've like thought about it and you've said, okay, I've collected my resources, now you actually don't have the energy to do the
yes,
thing. And especially if,
exactly.
like you said, like it doesn't align with your core values, and you're just doing it, I don't know, to maybe for whatever reason it is, then you really don't have the motivation to do it, and then you're going to procrastinate and just end up wasting time. So I think definitely planning in advance, having that there. I do this in my YouTube videos actually. So I never plan the videos on the day I want to do it, on the day I want to film it. I plan it like
Mhm.
a week before. So when it comes to filming, even if it's a day that I don't have much time or I'm not necessarily in the mood, but I know that I have to film for that week, the video's ready, the research is
Yes.
done, the notes are taken. All I have to do is put some clothes on and sit there. I don't think I could do it if I had to plan it at the same time. So yeah.
I exactly work the same way. And I think what you said there is gold. The thing is, when we define a task so
Mm,
much like a script of a video or the outfit of a video,
yeah,
it's easier to execute on it. You
yeah,
know, like when you write something like film XYZ video, it's like, oh, it's a huge thing. But if you say, set up the light,
mm,
you know, this point, that point, it's very defined, very
yeah,
small to be procrastinating on it. So breaking it down like that and doing the prep work the day before, the plan the day before at least, I think that helps massively. So yes, yes,
one of the things
scripting the
that
day before.
one of the services that I provide with the Page Doctor is helping students plan. And
Yeah,
I used to only get a couple of students that used to come for that, and now I get so many because students just want a plan, somewhere to start, right?
yeah,
And then once you've got that starting point, like you said, whether it's for a video or for an essay or for like a project that you're doing, once you have that A, B, C,
yeah.
D, then it makes it so much easier to just get started. And then the next thing that I would say, the tip that I would give you for not procrastinating is just do it. And I think I mentioned to my Instagram the other day, I said, what are you going to just do today, right? So
Oh,
when I say just do it, I mean spend 2 minutes just doing the task, right? You don't want to, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, what's the task that we don't want to do? Let's just say writing an essay, just to keep it
yeah, yeah.
relevant. So we don't want to do that. Okay. So let's just start by opening up a blank Word document. Okay. Just to start, just do that.
I love
And
that.
then save it as whatever you want, essay number one. Okay, that's it. By nature, you're now going to say, okay, let me just put the title. And then
Yes.
by nature, you're going to say, okay, let me just think about what. And then automatically, you're going to kind of do something. Or
Momentum.
even if all you've done is make that Word document and save it, that in itself is productive because you've now
Yep.
taken that one step closer to the end goal, right? So I think I tend to go with this phrase called just do it, where it's like, what are you just going to do today? Like without thinking about it, just do it. And naturally you find that you just go with the flow and you just get on with it. So yeah,
Love that.
I
Love
like that.
that.
Cool. All right. Again, another sort of how to overcome an issue to help with productivity. So question number 3 is how to pick yourself up after a fail. And I think,
Mm.
I mean, if I think about like myself, maybe after having a day or even a week or even a month of like not getting that much done, or you know, like failing the to-do list, or just feeling a bit crap, basically, like not feeling like you've done your best. How do you pick yourself up after that?
Yeah, that is so valid right now with working from home and COVID. I think that's what's happening daily.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of things. First, I am always someone who is like proactive on these things. So that's why I'm doing this time blocking so that I put a to-do list exactly to the amount that I have in that day. And then I shorten it by an hour, like removing something for emergencies. So I'm preparing myself to not fail the to-do list. Basically, that's my first thing. But obviously, there are days that things take longer, you don't feel like it or whatever. I have these once a month regularly. It's crazy, I know that. And in the beginning, I was feeling horrible about it. And the thing is, I was feeling horrible, and then I felt horrible about not being productive and not feeling good. So it's like a vicious cycle. And then I tried to keep working, and it never worked. So right now, what I'm doing is when that day comes, I embrace it fully. I turn off everything and I just go and watch Netflix or do whatever. So I'm embracing that one day off. I don't want to, it's going to be a fail day. I know that already. So let's not push that. But obviously, this is a one day situation in a month for me. And once I gave myself that day, it doesn't repeat itself. If I kept try pushing, I think it might have like prolonged itself to a week and then a month, basically. But yeah, like one day of it, 2 days of it, I just say embrace it. It's an emotion that you're probably going through right now that is preventing you to complete whatever that you set for yourself, and that's okay. We don't have to have amazing days every single day. I think we got to see the low to be able to appreciate the high. And that brings me to the second thing I do. I always think about the highs when I have a failed day. I'm like, what is one win from today? Maybe I spent 5 minutes with my dog longer than usual. That is a win. I can count it in as a win. It's not productive in terms of like getting something done. Or, like yesterday's win. Well, at least I did this yesterday. So today is the bad day, but, I can still be happy about that one and push myself forward. So I'm kind of in my mind, gratitude logging, I guess, in a way to just, like, again, pat myself in the back and say, okay, this is fine. It happens. We're all human, but also it's not your typical everyday situation. You're not this person. We do that, Amina? Like, we define ourselves with occasional emotions or situations sometimes.
I think
And
we're quite evil towards ourselves. We would
yes,
things that we say to ourselves. We'd never say. I'd never say it to you. I'd never say it to
yes,
a family or friend. We'd never say those things. So why do we say those to ourselves? Um,
yeah. It's about it's about loving yourself and understanding yourself as well, obviously. Like, I recommend everybody that I work with to have these character tests, these personality tests done to understand how they perform, what they don't like, this is such a big one. What you don't like is way more important than what you like, in my opinion. It's a bigger trigger. So if you know yourself, and if you're, playing to those strengths and having wins, that's who you are. Like, you are that character, which you can change, by the way, if you don't like, and you're playing to your strengths, hence you're getting good days out of it, hence you're being a successful, productive, however you want to define a person. And then when you have a bad week or a bad month, you can always hang on to yourself, like, deep inside. I think we're going into personal development a little bit, but
I mean,
it's such a big one, right? Like,
I mean, your character does define what you do when you fail. Like, are you
yes,
someone who kind of can't forgive yourself about it, or are you someone who kind of just can brush it off? Like, that is part of character. So it's important to, if you're the kind of person that isn't able to forgive yourself, maybe think about why that is, and sort of,
yeah,
because I was like that as well. I used to kind of beat myself up about any bad day I had and just end up in this like ball of sort of feeling sorry for myself, and then also angry, and also annoyed, and also just all these emotions that are not productive. They're not
yeah,
helping the situation. But like I said, I think for me, I just kind of think about, right, today's gone, you've lost it. That's not a big deal. There are
yeah,
300 and however many days left of the year. Just work on the next day. Like, it's fine. You're over that situation. It's not a big deal. I think obviously with you, because you have like your businesses and stuff where you work for yourself, you might have the flexibility to have that day off, right? Right.
ah,
So
I
even
just
though,
want to say that, though, like, I put these deadlines on myself
yeah,
and get stressed myself about something I did. Like, it's
yeah.
crazy, but yeah.
Obviously, if your schedule's still tight, but because like now that I'm on maternity leave, if I have a bad day, I can just be like, you know what, days a write off, no big deal, right? But when you're at work and you've got an employer who's waiting for you,
Yeah, you're right.
you like, that's one thing I'm dreading. I'm going back to work and I'm like, when I have those days where I had a bad night with my son, like what can I do? I have to just go to work and just pick myself up and deal with it, because I can't just call in sick every once a week or whatever. Um,
Yes.
so I think
But
it's a bit difficult. I think probably in that sense, what I'll probably do is just try to work at the minimum that I can, not try to not overexert myself, not try to be, over the top and do all these other, just work at the minimum. If I don't feel great that day, just do what I have to do. Try to keep a positive mindset, try to listen to something positive like a podcast or like watch a YouTube video that has nothing
mhm,
to do with work. And then just get past that day. I think that's
yeah,
sort of what I used to do when I went to work and I didn't feel like it. Like I would just be like, okay, has to get
just
through that day.
watching
Yeah, and that was it.
just watching someone go through their day on
Yeah.
YouTube helps a lot in terms
Yeah.
of, picking yourself up. But you're so right about that. I think when I was employed, I think I was picking the things that I enjoyed the most about my
Yeah.
my job and
Yeah.
trying to do those on those days.
Yeah.
But I think the key word there is, so that it's just one day,
Yeah.
is to say to yourself, this is the exception, this is
Yeah.
not the
Exactly.
rule,
Exactly.
and move on. It's it's,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. And we're all allowed down days, absolutely fine.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question is about tracking your habits. And I guess
Mm,
again, when we're talking productivity, habits is sort of a synonymous word. To be productive, you have to have habits that you've embedded into your life that are conducive to being productive.
yeah.
So that could be a morning routine, that could be like you've spoken about so much, like calendar or diary or planner or like whatever it is. So how do you track your habits? I think I know what your answer is going to be, but how do you track your habits?
Well, you're gonna think that you're gonna say that this is a habit tracker on my planner, and you're gonna
Yeah.
be right about that. Yes, but also that's the other thing. Like, I'm attaching a time to my habits as well.
Mm,
Like, I'm not. I'm gonna read today. I'm
mm.
more about. I'm gonna read between 6:30 and 7 today.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make a schedule around the habits. Like right now, actually, this is something that I didn't share with you yet. I'm currently working on building a habit of having an afternoon routine.
Okay.
When you have that
Mm,
afternoon
yeah.
slump, when you're like, dip
Mm,
of energy, and winter is already very hard. After lunch, 2 3 4, it's really hard.
mm.
So beginning of the year, I designed a 1 hour routine that will pick me up,
Okay.
right? And I was like, okay, what would really make me go push myself until I finish work, or finish the day, basically. And I wrote down, like, first thing first, you gotta have your lunch, and then second, have your Turkish coffee, which is a special thing, and then have some physical work so that your body is moving and your blood is moving. And I'm like, okay, cleaning the kitchen, but have a good music in the background as well. So I made this list, and I'm now trying to implement it into my day so that it becomes a habit and I don't have to think about it. I have that 10 step or whatever steps it is on my planner open when the time comes. It's between 1 and 2, and I'm like, okay, it's 1. I know that because my, again, calendar, I turn it to my afternoon routine page on my planner, and I just follow it that day. And then the next day, 1 comes again, and I'm trying to follow it again. If
Mm,
I cannot, for some reason, I have to remove that block, then I would go back and say, why? Is this not a priority again for you to build as a habit? Is that why you didn't do it? Or are you really, because important things to you may be workouts, may be long morning routines, or reading or whatever. If it's important for you, you'll make the time for it and you will do it regularly. So this is how I look at it now, like assigning a time to it for sure, so that it triggers the same action every single day. Having it very, very much laid out, again, like you said,
mm.
open the tab first, have lunch first, easy step, easy entry. And then basically try to do it until I don't even think about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I finished work. It's time for my, oh, wait, it's also 1. I'm
Yeah.
going to have my Turkish coffee now.
Oh, that sounds really cool. I've always heard of morning routines and evening routines, but never afternoon routines. But I feel like that's so important because the afternoon is where productivity tends to go. Whoop. So, I think it's so important to have a routine in the afternoon. I mean, I think, you know what? I think I do have one, but I didn't think about it. I go for a walk. So usually between like 11 to 1, around that time, I'll go for a walk for about an hour. I'll do 10K steps. and then I'll come back and I'll feel refreshed. I guess that's my routine. Like my
That's
afternoon
it.
routine. Yeah, probably. I didn't think about it as a routine, but it is something that I've implemented. So for me, I don't really track my habits because I don't think I've implemented anything new in
Mm,
recently. I think what I do now is sort of what I've always done. And so like you said, after a while you won't need to do that the whole
yeah.
schedule. You'll know it and it's part of your like everyday. But I mean there's so many apps out there. You can use, Google Calendar,
Yes.
you can use like Notion. There's so many apps that, or you can just use paper, pen and paper. Um
Yeah.
it depends. I think it depends on you. Do you want to formalize everything? Like, do you want to tick boxes and see your, success? That works for some people. For me, I end up forgetting to tick the boxes and then end up like having to backtrack and it's a bit messy. So I don't necessarily do the whole like pen and paper
Yeah.
thing in that sense. I just tend to just be a bit disciplined with myself and just tell myself, look, go for a walk every day. It's a simple task. That's just and then in the end, that's the habit that I build.
Yeah.
And then once I built one habit, I'll maybe put something else into my routine. So that could be like making, I don't know, having fruits in the afternoon, or something else that's more specific that can help with productivity.
That's
And yeah, food. Speaking of fruits, food is such an important fuel that helps with productivity. So if you're finding that you're like having an afternoon slump, maybe it's because of what you're eating. Maybe it's because of the time that you're eating. Maybe it's you're having like a sugar high and then you're,
mm,
what are you eating? What are you consuming? What are you drinking? Are you having enough water? These are all things that I think people tend to track in different ways. Like they have like those liter bottles that they kind of look at. You go, yeah! I have one somewhere. I forgot my cup right now. But yeah, everyone's got like some way of tracking, I think that. And I think we tend to forget that what's inside this vessel
yep.
really determines how, because the thing in here, the brain is the biggest, like is an organ that it's quite small compared to the rest of your body, but it takes the most energy
Yes.
from you. And so how are you nourishing that? How are you nourishing that brain? Like, what are you eating? What are the things that you're putting in your body? That makes a big difference. If you find that you're always like lazy in the afternoon, or you're always kind of like can't be bothered, lethargic, what is it that's going in
Yep.
that is causing that fog? I think it's important to also like take a look at.
Very, very. If you're not healthy, you can't be productive, in my opinion.
You really
Simple
can't.
as that.
It doesn't work. All right, last question before we go on to like any questions. I don't can't see any questions, but anyway, last question is where did I write it down? What do you do during breaks? So this could be during breaks, maybe like the weekend, because that's a break from your week. It could be like, I don't know, if you have a break like mid-morning or mid-afternoon. What do you tend to do?
I always have breaks. Like whenever I finish a task, I take a break. Like the Pomodoro technique is amazing for
Yeah,
this. And I'm sure you talked about this on your
yeah.
channel as well. And I love this whole concept of this.
Yeah.
But I need a bit longer. So I created my own Pomodoro. It's 1.5 hours to 10 minutes, kind of. Every block is like that, because I know that this is my peak and this is when I need a break.
Mhm.
So kind of every 1.5 hours, I automatically feel the urge to go on a break. And I always go out in the garden
Okay.
every day, every break, without fail. So what I do is I try to go alone most of the time. So when my husband is like, "Can I come with you?" I'm like, "Okay, but now is the time where I need to clear my head, because when I go out, that's what I'm doing most of the time. I'm just thinking about what I did, what's next, and like just kind of, again, mental journaling a little bit, I guess. But obviously also, I think we talked about this so many times. I am not an over responsive person in terms of answering to messages or emails or this, that, WhatsApp, all of that stuff. I'm really, strict about not being on and available all the time
Yeah.
to protect my focus, basically, to protect and I communicate that with everyone in my life. Like there's an autoresponder saying, sorry.
Yeah.
But the break is the perfect time, because you just finished something. You don't have to concentrate on anything. So during those breaks are generally times where I return calls, talk to people. And since I'm an extrovert, it
Mm.
kind of energizes me as well. So it's playing to both sides. Like I got back to people every 1.5 hours, kind of, but
Mm.
also I fueled my energy at the same
Yeah.
time.
Okay. I think I'm similar to you. I try to get outside, I think, for me, just to be it like go for a long walk, or be it just like we've got a balcony, so just stand in the balcony, or just do something different. Basically just switch off from the thing that I'm doing.
Right.
And I think for me, I don't have such a strict routine like you do, obviously, because I'm on maternity leave. So I just kind of squeeze in work here and there as I can. But I think when I'm taking the break, I really try to switch off and focus on the thing that I'm doing. So for me, when I'm not working, I'm playing with my son. So I try to make sure that I'm fully in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not like not working, not playing. I'm here. Like, it's you don't want to be kind of 50-50. You don't want to be kind of replying to an email, kind of doing something else. Multitasking, I think we mentioned it earlier, multitasking, as much as we generally tend to hear that multitaskers are good, it's a good thing, being a multitasker is a good thing. But actually, research shows that multitasking tends to make your brain kind of switch from one thing to the other and not doing anything effectively at all. So what I do, and I've tried to be, and I think it also because I have a child, like I want to give him my time, right? So when I'm not doing the email thing, when I'm not doing like work, when he's asleep, when he's awake, I'm like fully laptop closed, like phone off, like I'm fully engaged in that moment. And I think that's important. So when you're taking a break, regardless of what it is you're doing, like you go outside, you're not in your office, like you're not in your space, so you're fully out of that zone. What I used to find was at work, people would stay in the office during the break time, so they'll have the lunch at the desk, they'll have the break at the desk, and I'm like, guys, that's not this is
No.
great, see ya. Like, I'm gonna go outside, I'm gonna sit on a bench outside, I'm gonna go in the corridor. Like, I can't be in the same space that I'm gonna work in. You
Yeah.
lose like the differentiation between work and play, the same way that you don't sit on the bed and work all day, because the bed is the sleeping place. It's the same
Yes.
kind of idea, like you need that separation
Boundary. Yeah.
exactly. So just, I think when you're taking a break, just try to switch off from the thing you're doing, and that's probably what I'd recommend.
That is okay. Once and for all, for me, the
Yeah.
multitasking situation got clarified yesterday, and I will tell you about this.
Okay, tell me.
But about the boundary thing, like I put on makeup. This is my preferred, like self. I feel good in this. I can kick the day, whatever. I do this when I was going out,
Yeah.
and now I do this when I'm working from home, and I remove it when I'm going into my personal time. So I have a boundary in between things, not even like space wise. I look different in
Yeah.
between tasks. But yesterday I heard this, and I think this is what we believe in, both you and me. Multitasking is okay. Multi-focusing is not.
That's a good
So
point.
you can listen to podcasts while you're doing the dishes because one thing doesn't require focus. That is okay. That's a good multitasking. But multi-focusing, two things that need your proper attention, that's the best. It's such a killer, isn't it? This sentence just made it for me. I'm like, yes.
Good point, actually. Yeah, because I like to think of myself as a multitasker, but sometimes it doesn't work. So, but
Yeah.
what makes it good is, I think it depends on what those tasks are. If I'm, like you said, listening to a podcast and doing something else I can do that, because the other things don't need my focus. Whereas, like you said, like if you're applying to an email and trying to do another project, like that's not gonna happen because yeah,
No.
I like that.
I think this is a killer thing. I think we should make a video about all of this. Like just a
Multitasking.
sentence.
Also, multitasking. It's not multitasking. Say it. What was it?
Multi-focusing is not okay.
But multitasking.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I don't know if the live is blocked, but I don't see any questions currently. But can I just say to
Yeah.
your audience that I will be asking the very similar questions that are coming to from my audience next week?
Yay!
Yes, are you ready for that?
I'm ready.
I'm dying to understand how you're doing this. You have a 9-month old, and you have a new business. I mean, you have always been doing a lot of things, and you've always been productive. That's why I think, attracted each other the most. But will you talk about it today briefly as well, or
Yeah.
should we just end it here?
No. You know what? I think you're probably going to agree with this, but in life, I found that, and this was, I did like some research on myself, basically. And I think we should all do like some research on yourself.
Yes.
Like look at yourself and just be really honest with yourself. Like, this doesn't work. This works. This system doesn't work, whatever. Anyway, I looked at myself and I was like, when I've got lots of things to do, I get them done, right? I'm a
Nice.
lot more efficient. I fit them in. I don't know, like Tetris. I don't know how, right? My husband's like, I don't know. He looks at me. He's like, I don't know how you've managed to get all those things done, as well as spend the whole day with my son, right? As well as like reply to the emails, do the invoices, like so much stuff. But then when I only have one thing to do, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember, there's a word or phrase for it, but the more
Parkinson's law is what you're
yes,
talking
that was
about,
it.
Faith.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more I have to do, the better I am with my time. And then the
Yep.
less I have to do, the more I'm like, nah, I've got all week to do that. I've got all day to do that, and I never get it done.
Yep.
So honestly, to answer your question, like I don't think it's anything special that I've a special talent that I've got. I just think that don't overbook yourself, because sometimes I do overbook myself. But I think what I tend to do is I tend to really make sure that I've got things planned in a way that I know will fit in somehow.
Yeah.
And then, then I can get them done. Whereas when I only have one thing to do and there's no like time limitation, I don't really get it done. Also,
Yeah.
I also can't forget the fact that I have a lot of help with obviously with my son. And I think that was what I mentioned. I think the title is, I think we talked about this last time in our Zoom chat, like last week or something.
Yes.
And I was talking about how productivity is a privilege, and sort of we can talk about this more maybe on your channel next week or something. But I think to be productive, like you really have to have certain things aligned for you, and you really have to have like a clear mind, a clear space. The fact that I'm here right now, my son's like being looked after by someone else, is a privilege. Like not everyone has that. I wouldn't be able to be here with you right now and sitting here for half an hour, 1 hour. He's awake and he's like just playing. But he, we had the chat last week. He was
Yeah.
on like he was literally climbing on me. I had food all over me. So that's the reality of things. But I think the fact that I have help with him, my husband's super super, I'd say helpful because obviously that's his dad. But like during the day when he's at work, he should be working. He's really helpful with my son, even though he's should be working during the day and I'm on
Yeah.
maternity. I have that help where he takes him for an hour, even though he's like doing work on the computer, and lets me have my meeting. Which, like I said, he's working. He doesn't need to do that at all. So I'm
Yeah.
really lucky that I have that support there in the background, which helps so, so much, because I genuinely couldn't do it without that. I would have to say no to a lot of things. And then at the same time, like, thankfully financially I can pay for certain things that will help. Like if it wasn't corona, everything wasn't going on right now, I could pay for like childcare, I could take him to nursery, things like that, which I think the accessibility to certain things really helps with productivity. And I think a lot of people message me saying like, I've got a 5-month-old, I can't even breathe during the day. And I think we shouldn't compare ourselves. I don't compare myself to anyone, because I know that what I
Yeah.
show is a part of my life, and what you show is a part of your life, and what she shows is part of her life. So just take the good, take some tips and try to apply it into your life. Every day is not a good day. Today, let me tell you today, right? Last night I slept for 1 hour.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
1 hour from 10:50 to about 6 a.m. Sufyan woke up every like 40 minutes. I think he's teething right now, so like he's a bit agitated. So it's not normal, but every 40 minutes. So I probably slept for about an hour total. And then I got up and then I napped with him during the day. So I actually woke up at like 4 p.m. So I just got dressed. So I think, and you're probably sitting here thinking, wow, I got so much up. But actually, this is the start of my day. So I think, we have to sort of just take everything with a pinch of salt. You don't know what people are doing in the background. And I'm only going to show you my good days, obviously. I'm not going to show my bad days.
No, but that's the thing. You could have easily texted me saying, I had a bad night. Can we
Yeah.
postpone this? Can we not do this? You didn't. That's the good part about it. Like your situation. You are looking for help wherever you can. And obviously it's a priority for you to empty your time. So you would be okay to pay for that over something else, maybe. And then you're coping with what's going on and pushing yourself to make the best out of a day. And I respect you so much for that. Like when it comes to having kids, I always question this. Obviously, it's a massive change in life and freedom in terms of time usage and everything. And I'm looking at you, and with the good and the bad and the ugly, I am inspired, Amina. I think you're doing incredible.
Thank you. It's tough at times. Like I said last night, like I woke up and I was like, what did I sign up for? Even 9 months later, I'm like, no.
Take
But
it
then
back.
please. But then at the same time, you wake up and then you see the smile and you're like, I can't be mad at you. I can't be mad at you. Like your teeth are coming out. Of course it's gonna hurt. Like, of course you're gonna wake up. I can't be mad at you. And I think I think that's one of the blessings of like motherhood. It it's so difficult, like the pain, you know, labor, all the nights, everything. But the blessing completely outweighs like any of that pain. Like me and my husband were saying the other day, we were like, we'd never accept any of the things that my son does to us from anyone else. Like imagine if someone
Right.
kept you up all night and if
Yeah.
someone like, vomited on you every day, you'd cut them out of your life straight away.
Vomits on you every day.
Honestly, like I change clothes every day. Like it's ridiculous. But we're you know, you're happy with that's your child, right? Of course, you don't even feel an ounce of like negativity towards them, obviously. So I think as much as you know it's seen as admirable, I think it's normal. I think every mum's like this. Like every mum has a bad day, has a bad night, and then carries on. Even I only have one child. People do this with like 3, 4, 5 kids.
You're
So
right.
you know, I for me, they're my inspiration because I don't know how they do.
I think we're looking one step
Yeah,
above
yeah,
constantly. Like since I only have pets right now, so I'm like that's the
yeah,
next level for me. But yeah, I mean, still, you launched a business, you launch courses, you're being regular, like consistent on YouTube. It's still, come on,
yeah,
come
yeah. I
on.
mean, I obviously I do have like a lot of discipline. I think that's something that's obvious.
Yeah.
You know, I do really try to work with the time that I have. Like I try to work with when he's asleep. I try to work with when he's, you know, playing by himself. And I think that's something that you kind of have to try to balance. But definitely I cannot sit here and say, yeah, I'm amazing. Like it's all me. Like it really isn't. I get so much support. Um, you know, for the most part, my like main job is looking after my son, and then my husband does a lot of the housework, a lot of the like cleaning. So that is a big weight, and I can't sit here
Mm.
and say like I do it all. Because I really don't. Something has to give. Something has to
Yeah.
give. It be it your career, be it your relationship, be it your like your house would be a mess. Like something has to give. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you have the support where someone can really help you with that. And I think that's where it's really important to communicate with your partner and just be like, look, like this is something I'm working on. Like I need help with this thing. I need help with that thing. I'll look after this. I want you to do this thing. Like just communicate because honestly, guys are more than happy to help. They just need you to tell them what they want. Like genuinely, I don't. You know, if I say, can you do this? Like I'll never get a no. You just need to communicate it, and I think that's something that I think a lot of us tend to forget. We just think men or just friends and just people in general can read our minds. Like people can't read your mind. You need to sometimes say what it is that you're feeling and that you want and the help that you want. And I think that's probably the key message I would say. Like just ask for help where when, as and when you can. Yeah. So
It was
yeah.
so honest, so real, so nice, I think.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But yeah, I think we should end it there maybe. It's been lovely speaking to you and I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. We didn't ask for questions, but it looks like maybe the question chat isn't because normally I get loads of comments
I
coming.
think there's like this technical issue that we had, that we couldn't go on
Yeah.
the original link, and now I don't see chat as well, and I couldn't post in the chat myself.
Okay,
I think
fine.
there's something wrong either with my technical skills, which I think so, or YouTube. I'm gonna say probably
YouTube.
not,
Blame YouTube.
but we can always have comments and
That's
get the chat going there after this. We talked a lot. I talked a lot
yeah.
already.
Yeah, that's fine. Or you know, or we can just continue on with the questions that come in next week.
That
But
will
you
be
know, I
awesome.
think we pretty much answered most of the kind of commonly like frequently asked questions anyway. So I hope
Good.
that I hope that you've all taken away something amazing from this. And thank you so much, Gamze, for being here. This is not the first time you're on my channel, obviously, and definitely won't be the last time. We have a few projects in the works for some courses, some YouTube videos, some stuff coming up. So hopefully you guys will see that in this year, 2021. Really excited for that. And yeah, you know, amazing. You're so
Me
inspirational.
too.
I've learned so much sitting here. So yeah.
Likewise. And thank you so much for having me here. Seriously, like working with you, doing something with you, collaboration, just having a chat is always a highlight of my day. So thank you, Amina, for having me and for this lovely chat.
You know, it's amazing. I think it's important to learn from each other.
Yeah.
We have competing like values and competing like tasks that we've got going on. It's always nice to learn you know, how someone else figures that out.
Those things. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'll leave Gamze's YouTube channel, business. What else do you want me to leave? Whatever. Your number,
Everything. I'll send everything.
your address.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I'll leave her details down below so you can check her out. And we'll be live on her channel, same around the same time, 5:30 next week, Wednesday.
Hopefully
Yeah,
better
hopefully
tech
5
stuff.
next Wednesday,
Yes.
talking the same thing, productivity. So let us know if you have any questions that are different, or maybe we can do like a slightly different take on productivity. Let us know what
Yeah.
you think.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, everyone.